Welcome to Williams Rocky Mountain Midstream. Although this orientation will review many of our rules and regulations, you are still responsible for reviewing all safety procedures and being familiar with OSHA, state and federal regulations as they relate to the job you will be performing. We expect every person entering our facilities to conduct business in a safe and environmentally responsible manner. To help you meet these expectations, this orientation was developed to guide you through the safety measures and procedures you will be asked to follow while working here at Williams. All contract employees and visitors must complete this site-specific safety orientation training annually and pass the test before being allowed to work on the property. Upon successful completion, you will receive a completion sticker. At Williams, one of our core values as an industry leader is to be safety-driven. We believe all accidents, injuries, and incidents are preventable. Williams authorizes all employees and contractors on site to stop work. Stop work authority means we expect all personnel to operate in a safe and controlled manner while operating within design and environmental limits. Be aware that company facilities handle natural gas, methane. Explosive, flammable, combustible, or toxic environments may be present. Although this orientation is not comprehensive, it highlights some to the minimum safety requirements that apply to contractors and visitors. The safety orientation is not to be used by itself. It is to be used in conjunction with the Williams Contractor Safety Handbook. Facilities and assets covered in this safety orientation for Rocky Mountain Midstream includes a gas gathering system which include 11 active compressor stations and numerous pig launchers and receivers. Additional Williams Rocky Mountain Midstream facilities and assets covered in this safety orientation are 4 gas processing plants and an oil gathering system that has LAC units. The following facility layout includes the safe driving path and emergency muster area for the Mustang compressor station. Please consult with your Williams representative regarding the safe driving path and muster areas for the compressor station you will be working at. The primary muster area is generally at the main entrance and the perimeter 35 feet away from process, and piping is the safe driving path. All contractor-operated vehicles shall follow these driving paths and sign in the control room. This is the layout of the safe driving path for the Spear Stabilizer plant. The primary muster area is at the main gate. All drivers loading condensate will need to sign in at the control room, have a Williams representative issue a hot work permit, and properly ground bond their vehicle before loading activities begin. Williams considers the Spear Stabilizer plant to be a DOT facility. The areas in green are the safe driving path for the Keensburg gas plant. The primary muster point at the Keensburg gas processing plant is at the control room. The secondary muster point is at the main gate. The following areas in green are the safe driving path for the Williams Fort Lupton gas processing plant. Fort Lupton gas plant has a 60 million plant to the west and a 200 million plant to the east. The primary muster point at Fort Lupton gas processing plant is at the main gate. The secondary muster point is at the control room. The following areas in green are the safe driving path for the Williams Front Range gas processing plant. The control room is located to the east of the plant. The primary muster point is at the main entrance to the east of the office. This is the layout of the Pierce gas plant. The roadways travel through the plant and around the perimeter of the plant. Please remember to keep vehicles at least 35 feet away from process. The primary muster point for the Pierce gas processing plant is at the main gate. The secondary muster point is located directly west of the main gate by the curve in the road. There is generally not a consistent design or layout for producers, pads, facilities, and picking sites. The muster point is typically at the entrance of the location. Please consult with a Williams representative as to where the primary muster point is located. Rocky Mountain Midstream has an emergency alarm system that consists of some visual alarms, audible alarms, or both. The alarm is activated in the event of an emergency in the immediate area or site location, severe weather, or other facility emergencies that require evacuation. Please consult with a Williams representative to determine what type of alarm system is at the area you will be working at. If you hear or see these alarms, stop work and evacuate the facility upwind, uphill, and upgrade. It's important to always pay attention to the wind direction. Proceed to a muster point identified at each facility and wait for further instructions. Smoking, e-cigarettes, and vape pens are prohibited at Williams facilities except in designated areas. Ask a Williams representative where the designated smoking area is located, if needed. By working at a Williams facility, vehicles may be searched for contraband. All accidents, incidents, use of stop work, and near misses must be reported to a Williams representative as soon as possible. The use of cell phones, cameras, and other non-intrinsically safe devices is prohibited at Williams facilities within 35 feet of process equipment, unless a hot work permit is in place. Contractors must adhere and follow all posted warning signs and vehicle traffic patterns. Speed limits are 15 miles per hour. All contractors and visitors must check in at the control room and with a Williams representative prior to starting work. All contract employees and visitors must sign in and out of the facility for accountability purposes. It is the contractor's responsibility to ensure that all contractors have a clear understanding of this safety orientation, as well as have the ability to communicate effectively with Williams operations at all times. All contractor-operated vehicles shall be parked in designated areas. Here are some rules about vehicle operation. Seatbelts must be worn at all times. Never leave running vehicles or equipment unattended. Be aware and observe all posted speed limits. Maximum speed limit will be 15 miles per hour unless posted. Contractors must not operate any Williams equipment without direction or direct supervision by Williams personnel. It's critical that you remain aware of your surroundings when operating any vehicle or equipment. Conduct a walk-around check for hazards before movement. When conditions warrant, use a spotter and make sure that any equipment and items loaded on them are properly secured. Remove any damaged or defective equipment from service immediately. Inspect all equipment brought to the facility prior to use. Use ladders with non-conductive side rails and visually inspect all ladders prior to and after use. All ladders must meet OSHA 1910.23 E requirements. Keep work areas clean and free from hazards and debris by performing a daily cleanup of all work areas, including trash. Williams' lighting policy requires contractors to stop work and cab up if lighting is 10 miles or closer. You must wait at least 30 minutes after the last lighting strike is 10 miles away to resume work. Consider using an app such as WeatherBug to track storms. Smoking within Williams property is strictly prohibited. Do not bring lighters, matches, and e-cigarettes to any of our facilities. To find out where the smoking locations are, ask your Williams representative. Firearms, drugs, and alcohol are strictly prohibited at Williams facilities. Vehicles may be searched at any time without warning while on Williams locations. Contractors and employees exposed to work-related fall hazards must use guardrails, control lines, or a personal fall arrest system. When working at heights 4 feet above grade or more, use a fall protection system or harness. Always use the appropriate tie-off anchor point. Harnesses must be inspected prior to use. When working off a ladder, consider using fall protection and proper anchor point. Contractors must provide their employees with the required safety equipment as identified in the Williams PPE policies and procedures. At a minimum, this includes flame-resistant, FR, long-sleeve shirt that covers all exposed skin, full-length FR pants, hard hats, safety glasses, safety-toed boots, personal 4-gas monitor, gloves, appropriate for task, high-visibility FR vests while working around heavy equipment and hearing protection as identified by signs in the facilities. If you have any specific questions regarding PPE at your worksite, contact your Williams representative. All accidents, injuries, near misses, spills, or releases must be immediately reported to the facility supervisor, lead operator, project manager, or COM, and to the safety representative. Do not bring chemicals to a Williams facility without prior approval from a Williams representative. Contractors bringing chemicals on site will be asked to provide safety data sheet. When operating a crane or other heavy equipment, remain at the controls while the load is suspended. Use 3 points of contact when entering or exiting equipment. Make sure loads are tethered and secured. Never walk under a suspended load. All operators will remove their high-visibility vests during equipment operation to avoid unwanted mechanical movement. Many of our locations have buried and overhead power lines. Exercise extreme caution when moving loads. When power lines are crossed or passed underneath, it requires a designated spotter or another control method, such as a gate or chain. Contractors must submit a critical lift plan prior to any load being transferred over or suspended above in-service equipment or existing structures. Identifying hazards for each job conducted at Williams is a top priority. We do this by reviewing documentation such as JSAs, work plans, and work permits, which are covered during tailgate meetings with all personnel involved. Here are some of the potential hazards present in our facilities. In addition to flammables and combustibles, they include, but are not limited to, frostbite due to cold products, asphyxiation, cave-ins, loud noise, leaks, benzene, release of energy, for example mechanical, electrical, product pressure, and natural occurring radioactive material, uneven or obstructed walking surfaces, and environmental conditions. The Williams Life Critical Operating Requirements are our most important standards. They cover the most critical safety hazards that have caused significant injury or loss of life within our industry. And at Williams, Life Criticals require 100% compliance every time. The permit to work provides a clear line of communication between supervisors and personnel performing maintenance tasks. It helps eliminate incidents, service disruptions, process upsets, and abnormal activities that may occur when there's a lack of planning, coordination, or communication of maintenance activities, and addresses simultaneous operations. It ensures that work groups understand the nature of the work being performed, the restrictions and conditions under which they'll be working, as well as the approvals and acknowledgments required. The permit to work is also used to document pre-job tailgate meetings, which are conducted daily to emphasize safety and hazards associated with job assignments, job plans, or tasks. All contractors performing work on company property, including greenfield areas, are required to complete their own JSA for their specific work or tasks. Identifying all hazards before a task is started is an important part of every job. If the contractor does not have a JSA form, they can use the Williams Contractor JSA form. Let's talk about performing hot work at Williams. Hot work is any work that may generate static electricity, such as sandblasting, vacuum operations, welding, cutting, grinding, abrasive blasting, drilling, and so on. Before performing hot work at a Williams facility, there must be a calibrated and bump-tested HAZ-gas monitor present. The individual operating the monitor must be trained and qualified. Initial monitoring of the process area where hot work is to be performed and recorded by a Williams representative. This is required before the work can begin. Reading of the hot work area must be at 0% LEL. Include the name, date, and time of test on the hot work permit. All 4 gas monitors need to follow company or manufacturer calibration and bump test recommendations. Because vehicles are an ignition source, when conducting vehicle entry at any Williams facility, perform initial monitoring of the process area prior to entry. A hot work permit is not required for hot work being performed outside of a classified area. A fire watch must be provided by the contractor for the duration of spark-producing hot work project, and for 30 minutes after the last hot work activity is completed. This individual must be trained as a fire watch and cannot be assigned any other duties. If they need relief, they must find someone to cover their job. When a fire watch is needed, at a minimum, a 20 pounds dry chemical fire extinguisher must be present. Contractors providing a fire watch must provide their own extinguisher and training documents for hot work. Lockout tagout is performed when servicing or maintaining equipment if the unexpected startup or release of stored energy could cause injury to personnel. This process is used to isolate de-energized equipment and circuits. All Williams and contractor employees involved in lockout tagout must provide their own locking devices for their portion of the lockout tagout system. These devices must be able to withstand the environment they will be exposed to. All Williams and contractor employees must walk down lockout tagout plan prior to beginning work. Contractors must remove their lock from the lockbox prior to working on another project or leaving the site. Now let's review some key things to remember about entering confined spaces. Confined spaces are any openings that are large enough to bodily enter, are not designed for continuous human occupancy, and has limited means of entry and exit. Do not enter a confined space without a confined space permit issued. All permit-required entry will be completed by a qualified contractor or Williams employee with rescue personnel on site or available. When performing excavation and/or trenching work at a facility, use the State 1 call system and verify that existing utilities are located prior to excavating. The on-site competent person should ensure that all reasonable efforts are made to prevent any known or reasonably predictable hazards are identified. During any excavation entry, the competent person will reevaluate if conditions change. Inspections should focus on preventing any situations that could result in a cave-in, failure of protective systems, hazardous atmosphere, or other hazardous conditions. Excavation buckets must have a bar welded across the teeth or have a smooth front. A Williams representative must be present during mechanical excavations. Finally, let's review some electrical safety requirements that you should keep top of mind. Electrical equipment, cords, lighting, welding leads, etc. must be in good condition with no exposed wires or damaged insulation. Only electrically qualified persons are allowed to work on exposed, energized electrical parts or conductors 50 volts or greater. An energized permit to work must be completed prior to such work. Any individuals working on energized electrical equipment must complete additional training and wear specific PPE. Exercise your stop work authority, plan your work, and ask questions when you are not sure. Watch out for each other, report all incidents, including any near misses. Do not take shortcuts. You are responsible for your own actions. This concludes our safety orientation training. If you have any questions, please contact a Williams employee. Thanks for watching. Thank you for taking the time to complete the Williams Rocky Mountain Midstream Orientation. Please scan the QR code with your phone and take the written quiz. You will need an 80% or higher to pass the quiz, and orientation is good for 1 calendar year. If the quiz starts over after you have taken it, that means you did not pass and will need to take the quiz again.